Welcome back, everyone, to another season of Premier League predictions. This is Underrated Sports, and I'm here with my friend Eric. Say what up, Eric.
What up?
And are you ready for a new season of Premier League predictions?
Yes, I'm so excited to get back into this. I really missed doing it from last season, and I'm ready to get back into it.
All right. Well, do you want to go through and explain our format for this season and how things are going to go?
So,
Hopefully.
yeah, I can go over it real quick. So, the format for this season, we're going to change it slightly from last year. We are going to take more time going in depth into each match. We're also going to keep a better track of our predictions over the course of the year. We're going to tally that up at the end and see who has the better total score after the Premier League season.
All right. Well, you want to just get right into it?
I don't see why we should wait.
All right, we got 10 matches this week. Week 1, everybody's going at it. So, first up, we got Burnley versus Man City. You want to talk about that, Eric?
Yeah, I can talk about it for a little bit. So Burnley's back in the Prem after last year's season. They did really well to get promoted again, and I think that they're going to have a good season this year. They're unfortunately going up against the reigning champs of the Premier League, Manchester City. That's rough. Not going to lie. It's really rough. Burnley hadn't made a lot of moves this offseason in terms of transfers, and City only lost a couple of players. They did lose a couple of their big names in Mahrez and Gundogan, but they did bring Kovacic, and honestly, I think it replaces a nice slot in the midfield. I think that City's going to take the win this week, and I'm looking forward to see what they have.
Yeah, I got City as well. Burnley has been in the Prem before, but they just got back into the Prem, so we'll see how that goes for them. Moving on to, so we both got Man City in that one, right?
Yep.
So moving on to Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. What's your take on that one?
So Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, I'm taking Arsenal this week. It's going to be straightforward. I like the moves that Arsenal made in the offseason. They picked up Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Timber. They've got a really good midfield this season. I'm excited to see what the defense is going to do in terms of holding its own this year. I like the young squad that they're putting together. I think that they're going to take the win here. Nottingham Forest did make a couple of moves. They lost Jesse Lingard. That's all right. They did bring in Chris Wood from Newcastle, and they also brought in Anthony Elanga, formerly of Manchester United. I do like the move to pick up Elanga. I think he's got a lot of young, good talent, and I'm excited to see what he can do, but I'm going to take Arsenal in week 1.
Yeah, Arsenal, I think, is going to be another contender to win the Prem. They didn't quite get it done last season, but we'll see what they can do this season. And I might have to agree with you on that pick, Arsenal as well, but we'll see how Nottingham Forest puts up a fight against them. And then moving on to Bournemouth versus West Ham United. Declan Rice, how is the loss of him going to affect West Ham this season, Eric?
Honestly, between just him in general as a person and the effect that he had on the team last season, as well as being a player on the pitch, being that, force in that squad, being one of the best midfielders in the Prem last season, even with a struggling West Ham, I think it's going to be devastating for them. I'm not sure how they're going to quite recover. I think it's going to take a couple of weeks. I'd like to be wrong in that decision, but I just don't see it. Honestly, Declan Rice was a huge part of that team, and the loss of him is going to be massive. So honestly, this week I'm going to take Bournemouth over West Ham just to see what happens. I would like to see West Ham make a bounce back, but I just don't know.
Yeah, between these two teams, I don't really have a good idea of who I think's got the edge. So I'm going to just take a draw. I'm going to just take the easy way out on that one. Take a
That's
draw.
fair enough. It's week 1.
And then moving down to Brighton versus Luton Town. Luton Town this is their first season in the Premier League ever, isn't that correct?
Yes. So Luton got demoted from League
Luton.
One, or the first division, before the Prem was actually created. So this will be their first season in the Prem.
All right. Brighton. Yeah, Brighton's always been a solid squad since they've came to the Prem. So I think Brighton's going to have the edge over Luton Town. So I might just have to go with Brighton. But I always love seeing new teams come in and see what they're made of. So it should be pretty exciting. What you think?
I'm going to join you in that. I think that Brighton, just with the experience they have in the Prem, are going to stay ahead of Luton. But with the addition of Marvelous Nakamba in on loan for Luton, I think they're going to be a nice squad. I'm looking forward to see what they have. Um, First week, I'm not sure what to expect, so I'm going to take Brighton just because I know kind of what I'm looking for from them. But I'm looking for a really strong season from Luton, and I'm really hoping that it works well for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Brighton could also be another team. Normally, middle of the table. I think they might have a shot at making a run for the top part of the table, but we'll see. Uh,
I mean, Brighton did well last year. They lost McAllister in the offseason,
yeah,
but I think that they still got a squad. I don't know if they're going to finish as high as they did last year, but I mean, I'm excited to see what they have and see if they can bounce back.
yeah, for sure. Moving on to Everton versus Fulham. What you got on this?
So Everton and Fulham is an interesting game this week. So Everton made a couple of moves. They brought in Danjuma on loan. I'm excited to see what he can do out there. Fulham brought in Raul Jimenez from Wolves and Calvin Bessie from Ajax. I've really liked Bessie for a long time. I've been watching him in the Dutch league, and I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the Fulham squad. I'm going to take Fulham because they did perform really well last year. They played high table, football. They brought in a couple of good transfers. I'm looking forward to see what they got. I think that Everton's going to put up a good fight. I think it's going to be a good match to watch, but I'm going to take Fulham in the end.
Yeah, Fulham felt like that was the team that did really well last season, but kind of went under everybody's radar. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe I got. May not be true, but that's just kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah.
I want to play the safe one and go draw, but I think I kind of have to agree with you. I'm going to give Fulham the respect they deserve. I'm going to give them a dub. So, moving on, we got Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace. Sheffield is back in the Premier League. They're going to be looking to stay in the Premier League, obviously, and Crystal Palace is also going to be looking to stay in the Premier League. They kind of struggled last season. So, I
Yes.
think I'm going to have to go right off the bat and say Sheffield's going to win this one. I got Sheffield.
That's a solid shot, honestly. I don't put it past you. With the loss of Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace, it is kind of a big hit to them. They did bring a couple other people in to kind of subsidize that, but honestly, I'm not quite sure how that one's going to roll. Like you said, Sheffield are coming back into the Prem this year. I am looking forward to seeing what they can do. I'm going to take a draw this week. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen between these two teams. I'm really hoping that they both can, get back to their former states, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to take a draw.
That's fair. Definitely could be a draw. Moving
Yep.
on to Newcastle versus Aston Villa, two pretty solid teams. Newcastle made a run last year. Aston Villa was sort of up there. What you think about this one?
So this game I'm actually really looking forward to. Out of all the games, I'm looking forward to this one the most for a couple of reasons. One, I'm excited to see Newcastle with the addition of Sando Tonali and Harvey Barnes. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can pull off this season. They're really good players, and I followed Tonali at AC Milan. I love him. I think he's a great player. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do to push this Newcastle squad to the next level. They made a really good run last year, and they just kind of added to that strong squad, and I think they're going to make another run. They did lose Alan Saint-Maximin, which is a sizable hit, but they can replace with Harvey Barnes and other people, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. But honestly, out of all of it, I'm looking forward to seeing what Aston Villa can do. They brought in Tielemans, Pau Torres, and Moussa Diaby. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with those players. Tielemans did really well with Leicester. Once again, Leicester didn't have a great season last year, but he did really well in general. He's been a nice player to watch. I think that he does good work. I think that he's really going to help the Aston Villa squad. Pau Torres, he's been around the block. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do to bulk out this Aston Villa defense and really help solidify what they have there. And Moussa Diaby, he's just a beast on the wing. I mean, watching him in the Bundesliga, he did really well the past couple of years. I'm really excited to see him in the Prem, and I think that he can do great work here. I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to take Aston Villa on this. I think that Newcastle probably has the edge here, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what Villa's got.
Yeah, those are all good points you made there. I'm gonna just go with Newcastle. This should be game of the week, in my opinion. It's gonna be a really good one to watch. I'm gonna take Newcastle just because the bias towards that last season run kind of favored toward them. Moving on to Brentford versus Tottenham. Son, what do you think in this one?
Uh, Honestly, I don't know. Both of these teams made good runs last year. I'm not sure how he's going to perform, but Brentford did bring in Romeo Beckham. I am kind of looking forward to seeing him play in the Prem, seeing glimpses of his father. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know how much he's going to affect this game, though, honestly. Tottenham have a really good squad. We are filming this a couple of days before the season actually begins, so there is still a chance that Harry Kane might not be there. Honestly, I think he'll stay. They said that, if he doesn't move before the first game, he's probably not going to move. We are a couple of days away. I think he's going to stay. I think that the Tottenham lineup is going to be really good. They brought in James Maddison. He's been really good. Once again, another one of those players at Leicester that performed well, even though the rest of the team really didn't. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tottenham's got this year. I like the addition of James Maddison. I think I'm going to take Tottenham this week.
Yeah, Tottenham's one of those teams, if they just figure out on the defensive side of things, I feel like they have a strong run at actually winning the Premier League. But we'll see what they got. I'm going to definitely pick Tottenham versus Brentford, but we'll see how things play out this season for Tottenham. And then moving down to Chelsea versus Liverpool. This also should be a really great game. This could be a contender for game of the week as well. What do you think about this? You think Liverpool is going to make a comeback? You think Chelsea's going to surge and actually be a top contender? It's a lot of craziness between these two clubs.
Yeah, so if you just look at what happened last season, honestly, both of these teams took a straight nosedive. Neither of them finished where anybody thought they would, and it really hurt to see as a fan. But I think this year both teams are going to make a comeback. If you look at the moves that they made in the offseason, you have Chelsea, who just dropped a lot of weight. Conte, Koulibaly, Kovacic, Havertz, Mount, Azpilicueta. Fofana's out on loan at Union Berlin. They lost a lot of players. But they brought in, last season, they brought in a lot of people. And honestly, I don't think that they needed that many because they had basically two full squads. They didn't really need everybody that they brought in plus everybody that they had. But they did bring in Nkunku. I'm looking forward to see what he can do. Unfortunately, he's currently injured, so I'm not sure when he's going to be around again. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he has and what he can bring to the squad. Also, one of the things that I want to mention about these two teams is they did both lose their captains of many years. Azpilicueta is left. He's now in Madrid. And Jordan Henderson left. He's now in the Saudi League. Both of these teams have moved on, chosen new captains, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with them. But it might make a little bit of a difference in terms of how they play and, what they're doing and everything. On the Liverpool side, you have a lot of, released players, a lot of loan outs. Liverpool took a major hit in their midfield players. That we lost a lot of players from the midfield, but we did replace some with Mac Allister. And, we're making good moves here. I'm going to take Liverpool this week. I just think they're the more together squad, especially with the loss of Nkunku. I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm going to take Liverpool this week.
Yeah, I was really kind of on the fence about this one, but after kind of describing the losses Chelsea's had, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. Those are some pretty good points you made. I think I'm also going to have to go with Liverpool based off of those points. Next, we got Manchester United versus the Wolves. The Wolves has always been a solid squad holding their ground, but Manchester United definitely have high expectations every season, so they're looking to come in, make a run for a title as well. So I think I'm going to have to go with United just because based off the determination they're going to have. They just lost their goalkeeper, David De Gea, legend David De Gea.
Yes.
So what do you think about this?
Yeah, so like you said, after the run that United had last season where they had a genuine shot to make, to win the Prem and to, win other competitions, they had a really good run. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can have. They did lose legend David De Gea, and I'm really upset about that because honestly, he was a great player. he did drop in form over the past couple of years, but honestly, he's still a legend of the game. He always will be. They did bring in Andre Onana, who had one of the greatest seasons last year with Inter Milan. And honestly, I think it's a good replacement. If you're going to lose De Gea, bring in Onana. He had a great Champions League run last year, had the fewest goals allowed, had the most clean sheets. He just killed it in the Champions League. And honestly, it was great to watch. They did lose Alex Telles and, like we said earlier, Anthony Elanga. Not big hits to that squad. They have the numbers. They have the depth. I think they'll be fine with those losses. They also did bring in Mason Mount. Huge pickup for United. I think that they're going to do really well this season. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm really excited to see what United can pull through with their signings. On the flip side of that, Wolves did lose Connor Cody and Raul Jimenez, so they've taken a couple of hits. Yeah, they're not the youngest kids on the block, but they are still some solid players that they did lose. I'm going to take United this week, but I am excited to see what both of these teams can bring in the first week.
Yeah, this should be a really great first week of the Premier League. Obviously, everybody's going to be excited just based off the fact the Premier League is back. We're going to be trying to keep up with all 38 weeks. It's going to be a long, hard grind, but we're going to try to do it. It's going to be a great kickoff to the season. We got some good matchups. Should be exciting. And what you think?
I think that the season's going to be great. I'm excited to see it come back. I can feel the energy. Anybody else that watches the Prem around me, I can feel everybody getting excited and getting ready for the season. I'm ready for the thing to kick off and for football to be back.
And for Man City to win it all. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, that wraps up our predictions video, guys. We'll see how we do. We're going to try to keep up with the predictions better, like we said. And we should hit you guys once a week with these. So hopefully we keep up with that. And we will see you guys in the next video.